Today's episode is presented by LodeStar, the fee experts.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of LodeStar's Lending Leaders. I'm very honored because I get to interview Alayna, who usually does the interviewing. Alayna, thank you for joining the podcast today. I know it's a long trek for you from your office that's about 20 feet.
It was really far, actually.
So today we're going to talk about the recent ICE Experience Conference. It's one of our biggest conferences of the year. It's the Encompass User Group Conference. We just got back, slowly getting on jet lagged from our time in Vegas and our red eyes on both our ends here. Want to really hear about what you thought of the conference. So to start, what highlights do you have?
I think it's always great to meet with lenders in person, right? When we get to meet on Zoom, we don't get a lot of the personalities and get to really connect on a human-to-human level that you really get when you go to these trade shows because you spend a little bit longer with them and all of that. But for me, really, it was, getting to see everyone Monday night at the opening happy hour at our booth. It was just really great, really feeling the energy. And I feel like we got a lot of foot traffic and talked to our clients as well as prospects.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you get a lot done via Zoom, and it's, interesting that you can have people you only interact with Zoom and can really have good relationships, but you can't replace being in person with folks and just that random conference run in. And this was my first time at this show in about 4 years, and it was really, really great just having all of those interactions. I think we both went through the same process of being a little bit nervous going into the conference, not knowing what it was going to be like. And like an hour in to the opening session, we're like, all right, we're good. We got this. We're going to be fine. So just from seeing partners who know us, from seeing clients who are happy, from potential clients who are interested, it was just really fun kind of having all of that. So that was, my highlight. And just quite frankly, seeing the LodeStar team kick butt. From all the preparation that you did, from your booth idea that was really successful, and us getting like a substantial number of more leads than other folks that we spoke with because of that. Our trick was getting placed next to the bar too, which always helps. Yeah. So what were your key takeaways from talking to folks? Was there anything that surprised you?
So I think one of my key takeaways is I did get to attend one session, which was the automated disclosure session. And I thought it did turn into a bit of a Q&A, which I think is always good because I really like to hear lenders as to where they're at with automated disclosures, what they're looking for. And, we are a part of that process. So it was really interesting to see lenders have such differing opinions as to what an automated disclosure is, what that looks like. And that was something that surprised me because I thought there would be more of a little bit of a one-size-fits-all answer to what automated disclosure is. Other than that, I really liked my other key takeaways are just how explosive the market, I think, will be in the future. There's a lot of lenders investing in tech right now. And people are they have the time to talk to us when they didn't a year and a half ago. And I think that's really interesting is I think the lenders that we see investing in tech right now and in creating their tech stacks are really going to be prepared for when volume does come back, and they're going to be able to handle that volume without hiring as many people.
Yeah, and I think that was one of my takeaways too at these shows. I always like to ask lenders, what are you hoping to get out of this? What is your goal going into the show? Who do you really want to talk to? And usually the answers run the gamut of I want to get into e-closings, or I want to look at this new technology, or we really need a new CRM. This show was the most uniform of any answers that I got to what your point. It was we need to automate whatever we can so we don't have to hire more people to scale. So we can scale appropriately to our volume, and then if things change again, we don't have to cut people in the way that many companies did over the last few years. And I think that is really a positive for the industry because I think that's going to lead to a lot more stability at the end of the day if folks are able to do that and kind of keep all of that up. And on another note, and I think we've talked about this a little bit before, while there's a lot of people who are optimistic and making moves, it is a confusing time right now. It is. We are, last year probably was a lot more doom and gloom, especially, a few months ago. But right now, you see people who are closing shop, getting bought out, going out of business, leaving jobs. You're seeing people who are buying companies, expanding, investing. all of the above. So it's not one thing, which is good. It's healthy, but it's also in running a business and kind of talking to people and selling, very confusing because a lot of people, even, that we talk to at companies, we ask, who's the point of contact at your company now going forward? And they have no idea. So there's definitely a lot of transition, a lot of flux, which isn't a bad thing, but it's was one of my takeaways and one thing that I thought was pretty interesting overall. So. So our last question we have is a vibe check. So how are you feeling after the show?
I think very similar. My LinkedIn post the Friday after experience was we were dead, but we survived. And I think that is probably how every single vendor felt coming out of the show on Friday. It was, it's a lot. Vegas is a lot. But at the same time, I really think it was really valuable. We had great connections, and I'm feeling really positive now that it's had time to sit. And I actually my brain had time to actually process what happened for the last 5 days. But I think it was really valuable, and I got to do, Larry Bailey had a session on Thursday of wrapping everything up, and that was really interesting. I got to sit down with Encompass admins for 7 hours and really hear what their key takeaways from the show were. And I thought that was so valuable, and I learned so much about the Encompass workflow that I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else.
Yeah, and it's definitely an organization, Encompass, that folks can have mixed feelings about, but there's no replacing that type of user group conference and just the ability to get that many people in one place for such a specific thing is incredibly helpful for us. I would say my vibe check would be similar. It was just great seeing everyone. It was amazing that people interact with our content, that people listen to this podcast. Thank you. We met a few of you. That was really fun.
Yes.
Especially, now 2 years into this, having that happen consistently is really great. I guess, I don't think I really have anything else. I'm just really proud of the LodeStar team. It was just really fun to get out there and interact with people. Excited for more conferences to come. I have a bonus question, too, that we didn't prep on, too. So,
I'm ready.
What are your tips for anyone who's going to Vegas, especially for business?
So my biggest one is Liquid IV. And I think Jim notoriously says nothing good happens after 9 p.m. I think in Vegas that's midnight, just so we're clear, because midnight is at 9 p.m., honestly, in Vegas. But really take care of yourself. It's hard. Wear comfortable shoes. I did not wear heels a single time during the experience show, and I think that's something that a lot of times as women, it's really hard. Our formal shoes are not comfortable. Let's be real. You can't put insoles in them. You can't do this. You can't do that. Sneakers all the way. Get some nice ones. Liquid IV, hydrate, and don't start drinking before 4 o'clock. It's a recipe for disaster.
Don't drink before dinner, quite frankly. That's what I did, and I was very happy about that.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident I'll start around 4 if there's a happy hour, but you got to pace yourself. And whatever that looks like for you, know your boundaries, know your limits as you go into the show, and set yourself up for success. I personally leave my debit card in my hotel room because I don't trust, myself after a few drinks to not take out money and go spend it on the roulette table.
That's true. I think I'm 2 for 2 at winning money and gambling at the Las Vegas experience shows, which means I'm definitely going to lose next year. But
there's no way you're going to win a third time.
Do you think your interactions and the tiredness of those interactions are different now post-COVID, where it's more tiring interacting with people because there's less of it?
Yes and no. I think before COVID, I would have pushed myself harder.
Yeah.
But post-COVID, I know, I need to take care of myself a little bit more. I don't want to run myself ragged. And I think also that's just part of, Maturity, right? I was a lot younger before COVID happened, and I think COVID aged us all by about 5 years.
I would agree with that. I find that I'm a lot more comfortable ending conversations at conferences than I used to be. I usually would look for a reason, finish my drink really quickly and say, oh, I need to go to the bar, or excuse me, I'm going to the bathroom. And now I'm nice talking to you, I'll see you later. And the other person doesn't really care. So I don't know if that's maturity or just,
accepting the CEO role.
Yeah, of just hey, and most of those conversations, they run their course, right? So I think that's really important. So that was my takeaway. But do we have anything else?
No, I mean, we've got a jam-packed conference schedule coming up. When this goes live, we'll be at Snug. We'll be flying back from that. So hopefully we'll have another recap for you post-show.
You'll have to describe mountain casual as a dress.
Yes, dress codes are fun. And then we'll also be at the Great River Show at the beginning of April. So if you're there, please stop by. Myself and Isaac will be there with our booth set up from Experience. So we'll be giving away, it sounds crazy, liquid IV, lots of toiletry items. It's really just build your own survival bag for conferences.
I was a little amazed on how many people grab deodorant. I think that tells you like that was by far the most popular item after liquid IV.
Yeah, everyone was like, why are you getting so much deodorant? I was like, just you wait. It worked.
It's good to have, I guess, or easily forgotten, or everyone smells.
Yeah, everyone everyone's broke in the travel. It's a pretty common thing to break, so that's always good. But yeah, it's really great. Thank you guys for engaging. Let us know if you like this format versus the other format we've tried for conferences. We always like to give something for those that can't attend. And if you have any questions as to what the show was like, please let us know.
Thank you, and thank you, Alayna, for the wonderful job you did throughout the conference. We were super well prepared, and I think we got a lot more out of it than the average vendor. So happy about that. So thanks, everyone, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to LodeStar's Lending. Please like, subscribe, and rate us 5 stars anywhere you get your podcast. I'd like to give a special thank you to the LodeStar team involved with the production of this podcast, including Alayna Gardner, Tim Austin, and John Gardner.